Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Pushing Buttons podcast with Marks and Anniepoo. My name is Marks, and I'm a collector of coins. Wow, you had to bring that up, didn't you?
I did. It's funny. It's funny. Do you have it nearby you?
It's literally right here.
Okay. Well, I'll introduce myself first, and then I want you to tell us about the coins that you're holding in your hands.
Sure.
But my name is Anniepoo, and I am the proud owner of a hipster rocking chair. Would you consider it a hipster rocking chair? I think it's a modern rocking chair.
I would consider it a hipster rocking chair because if you went for like your rocking chair literally looks like you took a stock standard office chair in a hipster setting, and then you attached a bunch of rocking things onto the bottom of it. Like, I'm pretty sure I've seen those types of chairs at like gaming conventions and stuff.
I don't think it's a hipster chair. Okay, so context about my chair and then your coins. My chair, I got a rocking chair for my apartment because I wanted a cozy corner, okay? And I needed more seating, and I thought, I want somewhere to sit down and relax. I got a rocking chair. I searched for rocking chairs for a little bit. There were some more traditional nursery rocking chairs that came with the little ottoman glider thing, too.
Oh, those are nice,
and then there was this other rocking chair, which, you know, Mark's described as kind of an upholstered office chair if it was a rocking chair, but I don't think that it's hipster. And maybe that's just because of the vibe I'm trying to build back here. I call my living room eccentric, posh, industrial.
Eddie, here's another question that could really determine how this conversation goes. Do you consider yourself a hipster?
Define hipster.
Somebody who is hip? I don't know.
Well,
Sorry, what was the name of your living space that you're developing?
Eccentric, posh, industrial.
The proof is in the pudding.
Okay, the eccentric furniture style is just putting shit together, okay? It doesn't all have to match. It's posh. Have you seen my sofa? My sofa is pretty posh, and then industrial is just like my kitchen cart and my coffee table, and even the legs on the rocking chair are like this mix of wood and black metal. And then my lights too are also industrial style lights. But when it all comes together, it doesn't feel cold. Like I'm sorry, this is not an interior design podcast.
And those of you listening or watching at home, please let us know, whether or not you think Annie is a hipster, just based off of everything that Annie has just said in the last 2 minutes, honestly.
I live in tech Seattle, okay?
You're not making it better. You're not helping your case with that.
I don't think I'm a hipster. I think I'm just a person who grew up and lives in tech Seattle. This is how people act around here, okay?
Okay. Sorry. Okay. Well, my story, I've got this jar here. Let me see if I can shake it. Oh, you can hear it. It's basically like a tambourine, but it's an entire mason jar full of $10 worth of quarters, $10 worth of dimes, and $10 worth of nickels that are all individually wrapped, in addition to $3.75 in pennies. I went to a Christmas party, and there was a white elephant gift exchange. Yeah?
Where did the pennies come from?
You're telling me, man. We haven't used the pennies in years over here. And
Canadians don't have pennies.
Yeah, no, we don't. At this white elephant, the theme was make sure you give $30 in a creative way. And so the person who I got this gift from literally spent about 5 hours individually wrapping every single coin that is inside of this jar, including actually finding all of the coins that go inside of this jar. Because to your point, I haven't seen a penny in literally years.
Is it worth it? 5 hours of individually wrapping coins for this prank?
That's not up to me to decide. I have this jar now. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. You know, we'll kind of have to see how things go. But I don't even, like, I'm not going to unwrap all these coins either.
mean,
if
you
it took me
could.
5 hours to do it, I'm not going to unwrap it. That's going to take me 3 hours. You can hear how loud it is. That's how bad it is. And I put that down kind of gently, too. Okay. All right. Enough of the shenanigans to start us off. This is an esports themed podcast. And
really,
last
I couldn't
episode,
tell.
Yeah, I know.
Really couldn't.
It could be interior design or a Christmas holiday podcast based on our beginning. But let's talk about what we kind of did in December, because the last episode that we just did was more of like the yearly recap. But December was busy for both of us. So you hate it when I make you start. So you know what? I think I'll start this time.
I just wanted to take a moment to clarify.
Okay.
I told you to start first.
Yeah, and I forgot.
I explicitly told you start first.
I'm a paid caster, guys. If you want me to work your broadcast, I'll remember everything, I swear. I tried to play it off, but nope, you had to come back into it, huh? Okay, well, all right. So I'll start us out because you told me. So once again, also to all those times that Annie has said, I just do whatever Marks tells me what to do. This is a very clear indication that that is not actually the truth, and very much the other way around. However, okay, so December was surprisingly very busy in an esports front, which kind of caught me off guard, if I'm being completely honest with you, because I thought it was going to be a pretty quiet month, especially leading into the holidays. But I also think that this is just kind of the nature of, you know, how sometimes esports production goes, where it was almost kind of last minute that I was like, oh, I did get into this broadcast. Okay, I guess I should probably get ready for that. And so it was a lot of like last minute scrambling. Oh, I say last minute scrambling, but like a week before I found out, and I'm like, ooh, okay, make sure I don't plan anything for that day. But it all started out with the Freezeout that Knights put on, which is the off-season Valorant tournament.
Your first Riot sanctioned event.
I know.
Congratulations.
Okay, so a bit of background behind this. I didn't think I was going to be able to get this because I was like I've worked with Knights in the past a number of times, but given the fact that this is, like you said, a Riot sanctioned tournament, you know, there is pretty stiff competition out there for how like casters can get together and stuff like that. But leading up to the actual event, then I found out that they were looking to try and squeeze in as many people as possible because the event was also an extremely long one compared to their usual monthly gauntlets or anything like that. And so as a result, I found out like, oh snap, I'm going to be working the very first day. Like, that's pretty cool. And then on top of that too, one of those moments for me where it actually kind of sunk in was they made a blog post about it, and then they published the blog post. Who is they? Riot Games. It was a Riot blog post, and I was the third name that they mentioned.
Wow,
is that true? I think that was.
I
true.
don't know.
It was the third or the fourth name, but they actually like used my name because just like they were like about like the production lineup, join da 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 Marks and others, and I'm like, oh shit, I just made the cutoff. Yeah, but then obviously they listed everybody else, but that was kind of like a, oh yeah, that's right, oh nice, look at me go. And
you were so proud of yourself too. You posted it on your personal Instagram.
I do. You know, we talked about it a little bit last time. I do like sharing that type of stuff with my quote unquote normie friends, I guess. But even then, some of them are a little bit aware of like the Valorant scene and stuff like that. So, and on top of that too, a lot of my friends play League. So just kind of with that like Riot backing, you know, it was just really cool to share.
Oh no, your friends play League?
Did I not tell you this? I was like the black sheep in high school because everyone wanted to just play League of Legends all the time. And I'm like, I'm good, actually.
Are they good?
I don't know. I've never played League with them.
No, I mean like in the head.
Oh, are they? Well, that's not up to me to decide, if I'm being honest.
Do they hate themselves? No, I'm just kidding.
True Valorant person.
No, so League of Legends was my first exposure to esports, actually. I always hide that information. There are two things I'm ashamed about when it comes to gaming. Fortnite was my first shooter game, and League of Legends was my first exposure to esports. But no actual hate against League of Legends. I actually really enjoyed watching Worlds, too. The storylines, amazing, immaculate. Yep. It made me want to get back into League of Legends, which I almost did. I did install it on my computer, but...
Are you okay? This is a safe space. You laughed a little too hard, and you hesitated a little too long on that one.
I'm okay.
Okay. Well, the Freezeout tournament was actually really cool to kind of be able to work as well, because it was a unique agent banning kind of select system where one team could select an agent, then the other team can no longer pick that agent, and then it went back and forth. And as a color caster, as a color caster, that was kind of fun to try and rationalize, I guess is the best way to describe it, as to why some teams might have made this decision or why some teams might have made this decision. So that was honestly a really unique thing. But of course, we got to talk about EV.io, a community gaming run tournament where one of our production friends, Rose, messaged me and was just like, hey, what?
Rose is my coworker.
Oh, okay.
/ friend. But
I mean, I've worked with Rose a number of times as well. Mm-hmm. I consider Rose a friend. Why'd you have to interrupt that?
I just wanted people to know I am more connected to Rose than you are. This is a competition.
That is true. And you're definitely winning the competition. I don't
might be friends with Rose, but I also work with Rose.
Damn. So you got 2 points against my 1, huh?
Yes. But you worked EVIO, I didn't, so you have that. You have that over me.
I tried to make that as uncomfortable as possible, and I think it worked. Yeah, so I got to do the EV.io tournament with Jim Basco, who I worked with quite a decent amount for Nerd Street. And so I realized when actually working the event, it was pretty cool because we could just kind of bounce off each other. And even though there isn't really a defined style, we made it work, and it was a lot of fun. But also, too, it was on the front page of Twitch. I was like, What the heck? I didn't know how many viewers were actually watching it, because what I try to do is, I don't try to read Twitch chat just because sometimes it can get into my own head, and then I doubt my abilities and stuttering my words and all that type of stuff, so I didn't open it at all. But then, I found out later on there was 30K? Am I right, viewers?
I don't know if it went that high.
Was it 3K? I might have times 10 by accident.
Well, you're 3K is a little closer, but okay. It was somewhere between, I think, 12 and 15 is where it peaked.
Okay, so I was actually completely off base with that one. But that was a really cool experience. And, I didn't know that was going on when we were working.
Nobody told you?
No, Rose mentioned it, but I don't think I understood. Where it's and then this is the prime time of Twitch. And I'm like, okay, yeah, that sounds good. Didn't realize that meant front page at the time. Maybe that's just more of a me problem than an everybody else problem, because I think Jim actually knew at the time, but I was the only one who didn't. But I
think Jim was also in Twitch chat too.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So that probably was, how he did.
Yeah.
Meanwhile,
there are some casters that enjoy being in Twitch chat and others that don't. I always try to tell people, don't be in Twitch chat no matter what you're doing. I mean, if you're the producer, it actually might be helpful for you to check out the stream and then also see are people complaining about the audio being too crunchy or audio video desync or anything. But for talent, would not recommend. You used to look at Twitch chat though.
Yeah, and people are mean.
Yeah, is that why you stopped?
Yeah. Yeah. It kind of is what it is. But I did want to close my section out just with a fun story where, with all of the holiday season behind us, I went to a family Christmas party. It's the first family Christmas party that I had been to in like 2 years. And that's kind of a big deal because we did one every single year. And I've got 17 cousins and some of them have like kids. So I think there were roughly about like 40 something people in like one house, which was like, that's a lot of people. But I was talking to one of my cousin's significant others and she works with kids. And she was just like, oh, like, one of my kids keeps on talking to like Valorant about to me about Valorant. And I'm like, oh, like, that's pretty cool. And she was just like, okay, I know you work in Valorant too a little bit. I gotta ask.
Oh, no.
I was like,
oh, no.
What? And she was like, do you have a riot gun, buddy? I was like, this is Twitter. This is the Valorant community on Twitter. And I was like, oh, yeah, I do. Like, I have one of my friends works at Riot. And then she was like, would you be able to get one of my students a riot gun, buddy? And I'm like, sorry, I don't think I can help you with that. She was like, that's okay. He just told me that I had to ask. I don't really know what it means at all, but, I had to ask. I'm like, no, that's totally fine.
But is it? Is it fine? You can't escape it. You did say you wanted to share esports with your family and friends. You're sharing it with your family.
But this is the riot gun buddy meme.
I have a confession.
What?
So I use my riot gun buddy on my Vandal in game, right? When people ask me how I get it, 50% of the time I tell them to DM you. Has anyone DM'd you for a riot gun buddy recently?
Are you serious?
Yeah. I do it. We don't play Valorant together. I do it when you're not there because I think it's funny.
I was wondering why every now and then I would get one and I'm like, I haven't touched Valorant in a while. Like I played for the first time in like weeks, like a day ago. And then like, every now and then I get a random DM just like, hey, could I get it right? And I'm like, what? I'm so... Honestly, I'm more disappointed in myself that I didn't catch on that you were doing this. If I'm being completely honest, I should have expected it.
Well, I mean, who would have thought, That wouldn't be the thing that I think about. Is like, why do people randomly like message me? Oh, it must be because one of my friends is pranking me without me knowing. Like, why would you have guessed that?
That's fair. I was very confused. Oh my goodness. Hey, you want to talk about those couple of times that we've actually played Valorant together? And then as soon as any child ever is like, oh my goodness, who has the riot gun buddy? You'll immediately throw me under the bus. And then every single subsequent round, the kid is asking me for my skin.
Yeah. And every time I tell you I'm sorry, I won't do it again. And then I keep doing it again the next time. Well, we don't play Valorant together very often.
I wonder why.
Because you play Overwatch. And I don't play Valorant.
Yeah, that's the reason why.
I play Overwatch too, sometimes.
You do?
No, not a lot. Only occasionally. Yeah. It's usually around Calling All Heroes that I play Overwatch, actually. Yeah. Which is finished now. The final event is done. It was in December. Sad. It was fun. I really liked that production team. It was really great. And also, like, the excitement around Calling All Heroes, it was really fun, too, right? You saw it every weekend that there was an event. On Twitter, everybody is excited. There wasn't I don't know if it's okay for me to say this, but I'm going to say it anyways, because I think this is something that
I think scoop.
People who have been watching Game Changers and Calling All Heroes might see is that and perhaps it's because of the freshness of Calling All Heroes, but there's no drama that comes out of it. There hasn't been any dreaded twit-longers quite yet. Yeah. I think it's partially because it is a much newer scene, very new initiative. Game Changers has had a lot of time to develop a community and things happen. But honestly, in 2022, it was kind of, it Is there a word for that? Like, like a mood word? Like, it was a lot to work in an environment like that felt really toxic at times and was very hard emotionally to be a part of. And it's something that I really love is Game Changers. So it makes me feel guilty in a way to say that I really enjoyed doing Calling All Heroes last year because it was something new and refreshing, a new community to be a part of, and also while doing the same kind of work. So yeah, that was a lot of fun. And also I got to work with some people who were in Valorant too, like Sapphire. Sapphire is, I hope she doesn't listen to this, but I'm like a Sapphire fangirl. I got to meet her. I got to meet her in person in LA for Astral Clash earlier in the year. And then we stayed connected over the few months. And then when Calling All Heroes came around, she reached out to me and I got to work on Calling All Heroes with her. And I'm just very thankful for that experience too. A lot of the TOs from Game Changers Academy also moved to Calling All Heroes and worked on both events. So it was very familiar, very comfortable, but really great experience to be a part of. And unfortunately, the final event of Calling All Heroes was also on the same weekend as the December Game Changers Academy. So I didn't really get to be a part of that last Game Changers Academy for the year. And I spread myself really thin that week because I still did a lot of graphics preparation and broadcast coordination for Game Changers Academy while thinking about Calling All Heroes, while also working my job. And I'm doing the thing again, but it was a lot.
I didn't have to say it this time. That's good.
It was a lot. And thinking about it now, I probably should have asked for help on Game Changers Academy, like asked somebody to help me with the graphics or asked somebody else to do broadcast coordination, and I will just answer any questions that they have. But that was also a really busy weekend. There were 10,000 things going on. It was very hard to book people, so I was really stressed. Also, another stressor is around that time, there was a lot going on, right? There was Calling All Heroes, Game Changers Academy, Marginalized Genders, Focus Events. And I was like, oh my gosh, you know what would be really... Oh, you know where this is going.
I know where this is going. As soon as it happened, I think you messaged me and you're like, I did it again. I'm like, oh boy.
Oops, I did it again. I just thought it would be really cool if there was a tournament or a showcase for marginalized genders in esports, but it was focused around people who work in the industry, not as competitive players, but, you know, people who are doing social media management, other kinds of marketing, community managers, production staff, casters, just basically anybody that you can think of. Tournament operators, team managers, all of that great stuff. Because there's a lot of opportunities outside of competitive spaces too for marginalized genders to work in esports. And I wanted to highlight those different jobs because people are always asking, you know, what jobs can I get in esports that aren't in like tournaments or in team management or in broadcasting? There's a lot of like office-esque jobs that you can do in esports, and a lot of really amazing people who are part of a marginalized or underrepresented gender in those spaces. I wanted to highlight them. Please don't laugh at me tripping over my words. Sorry, I'm not a caster.
Hey, technically you are. I'm just saying. We've already done that song and dance, but continue.
I don't want to think about that anymore. But anyways, I put it out on Twitter.
Yeah.
I put those thoughts out, those sentiments on Twitter, and it was for maybe like 40 people. 40 people that I know that I wanted to invite for it and thought, hey, this would be really cool if we got together and did this. So it reached a little more than 40 people.
A little more?
Like 40 times 1,000 plus some change.
Yep.
So, and people from outside of Valorant too, because I had wrote in a Valorant invitational. And people from outside of Valorant saw that too. People from Overwatch saw it. People from League of Legends, from Wild Rift, from I don't even know, from other spaces too. A lot of people saw it, and it was very stressful to me because this was going to be, I guess, an iteration of what used to be Smelly Showdown. Mm-hmm. The tournament that Marks originally made me cry in before we were friends.
Thanks for bringing that up.
Yeah, of course. It was just extremely overwhelming reaching so many people because I just wanted it to be the small thing. It's like the new and improved Smelly Showdown, right? The tournament that you made me cry in.
Thanks for bringing that up again. Continue.
Yes. I will always refer to Smelly Showdown as the tournament you made me cry in. We don't have to tell that story.
Was the last one under that, but yeah.
It was not the last one under that. There were more Smelly Showdowns. Yes?
What?
Nothing. You looked like you wanted to say something.
Oh, I was gonna be mean, but I'm like, no, wait, we're gonna go off too much onto a tangent. But here we are anyway.
Okay, whatever. We get it. You're gonna make me cry again because you're so mean.
Oh my god. Right, of course.
Yeah, so Smelly Showdown was like my small community events when I was streaming on Twitch regularly, and they were just, I guess, ways to bring my community together, and also for me to get to know other people too, like friends of friends or friends of the viewers that I had. So that was the idea, small and intimate. And I don't know about you, but 40,000 people is not small and intimate to me. So I'm figuring out what to do with it. I did put out an interest form for people who want to play and people who want to help. The last time I checked, I haven't been checking it too much because as of the time of this recording, I'm still on holiday. 128 people, at least, have filled out that form. I have a lot of responses to comb through. I'm extremely stressed. And I do feel a sense of obligation to respond to every single person, but I know that that isn't realistic. So
no.
I need to get over myself, I guess, in a sense. I don't think that's the correct sentiment that I should be pushing towards myself, but rather budgeting my time towards people that I think are going to help this series of events flow really well, do really great things for the communities that we are a part of, perhaps creating a new community for ourselves too, expanding past the people I know in Valorant and in Overwatch. But yeah, that's that. Well, dealing with that is gonna. That's a later me problem.
Future Annie problem. Nice. Yeah. Just delay the inevitable. I love it. But no, like just coming back to like tournament organization, and honestly, I think this holds true for just like working situations in general. You need to kind of know where to budget your time properly, because otherwise it might take away from the grand product being as good and impactful as it could be, right? Because if you burn yourself out too much, then it doesn't turn out to be the best version of itself, whatever the final product is, or at least in my experience. So yes, hopefully future Annie is cognizant of that and no longer delays the inevitable. However, I digress.
We'll see. We'll see.
We will.
We'll see.
We will. I can't wait for you to message me again after you put out another tweet and are like, oh no, I did it again.
Oops,
for something.
Did it again. Am I allowed to sing that? Is that copyrighted?
Okay.
I've already done it.
You're we get it. You have a good singing voice, but no, it's not going to get picked up by the DMCA boss being like, oh yes, this is Britney Spears.
That's not what I meant. That's not what I meant. I'm being framed. You suck.
Why do I suck?
These nuts.
I said, why do I suck? and then you just said,
Yo, who, what,
We're back in the full
when,
swing.
why? They're all the same
Where?
thing, right? Where?
Where? It was the 5 W's, Annie.
How?
Plus the H. Yeah, you can't forget the H.
Yeah.
Okay. Well said. Anything else that you want to quickly talk about, I guess, regarding anything in December? Or one more thing. I think.
No. I was...
Oh.
It's a little too early.
You put your finger up and you were like, 1. And I'm like, oh.
I did have a thought, but it's a little
Okay.
too early for said thought. So I am
Okay.
done with my thoughts. I'm no longer looking for
Gotcha.
them. I currently have one.
Oh, character development. We love that here on the Pushing Buttons
Yes.
podcast.
Thank you.
The arc has been completed. Okay. Yeah, I guess we'll let that one cook in the oven just a little bit longer. But now that we're moving ourselves into 2023, you actually brought this up. Let's talk about maybe resolutions, goals, or what do you got for thoughts, I guess? Oh, that's a bad choice of word given what we just talked about for 2023. And what do you want to be, I guess, on your own personal radar as something to focus on?
Sleeping.
That's a good thing to focus on. Wait, do you focus on sleeping, or do you not focus on everything else thus you sleep?
I mean, okay, so wasn't what I'm going to talk about, but while we are talking about sleeping, that's just kind of what came to mind. I would actually like to develop better sleeping habits. And maybe, this is what I should be doing in 2023. If I sleep, I can do everything else in a better version of Anniepoo. Better Anniepoo because better sleeping. Anyways, I've been having a lot of trouble sleeping recently. I think it's because I'm in a new place and I've spent a lot of time decorating my living room and talking about my living room with my friends and stuff, because this is the space that
and on the podcast.
This is the space that we spend the most time is in my living room. And so this is the space we've been focusing on, but I haven't done anything to my bedroom at all. So it feels kind of cold. Not in temperature, like atmosphere. It's kind of cold because there's not a lot of furniture in there. I do have a heater in there. The heater's on when I go to sleep, but it feels cold in atmosphere. So I don't sleep I've noticed I don't sleep very well because of it. I notice I dread going into my bedroom because it doesn't feel welcoming to me still, even though I've been sleeping here for 2 months. So I need to do some work on my bedroom, make it more comfortable, develop better habits so I can sleep better. Like, I don't know, not using my phone for the 30 minutes before I sleep. I know it's actually better if you don't use a screen, I think a couple hours before you go to sleep. But we're going to work on it piece by piece. So we'll start with half an hour and we'll see where that goes.
Yep.
But yeah. Sleep is not what I was going to say, but you know what? The sleep is a good answer still. We're going to make that my answer.
Sleep is a good answer. You wrote your answer down before I told you to write your answer down because you were like, I'm going to forget if I don't write it down. And you should write it down.
It's right in front of me, but you know what? We can save this for next week's episode.
Okay. Oh, okay.
We can tease it a little bit. I would love to. Yeah. We're planning live right now during our recording, but I would love
the Pushing Buttons podcast, where you get the full podcast experience from idea forming to the actual product.
No, I would love to talk about community and how I want to develop community a little more. I think it actually justifies a whole episode in itself because I want to continue being parts of the communities I'm currently a part of for work, but I also want to make more friends in my neighborhood. I moved to a new neighborhood the past couple of months, make more friends here, and develop new friend groups too. Some of my friend groups are falling apart because people are moving. So I want to get some of my local IRL friends together and I guess artificially create a new friend group or like invite people to, you know, come over that might not know each other and be like, you're friends now. We're all friends. We're all going to do stuff together. But, you know, to people who I think will like each other, and I'm not going to force anyone into anything, but in many aspects of my life, in my personal life, in my career, I would like to focus my efforts on community building.
I was just about to say, to any of Annie's friends, beware. That is the situation you might be put into. If Annie invites you over to something, be aware that you might show up and then Annie will be like, you are now friends with this person over there. And you're going to have to be like, okay. Not intimidating at all. Yeah. Good stuff. No, but I think that's good. And yeah, okay. We'll save the deeper talk about community and kind of the stuff you want to do there for next week or 2 weeks. That's right. This is a bi-weekly podcast. But okay, cool. All right. You ready to hear the thoughts percolating in? Oh, okay, cool. Well, that's the end of the pushing buttons.
Go ahead. I tolerate listening to you talk. I'm just kidding. No. I wouldn't record an entire podcast. I wouldn't record an entire podcast with you if I couldn't tolerate you. Sorry, if I didn't enjoy listening to you speak.
You know, okay, so speaking of reflections of last year, we're going to bring it back for a second.
Oh, no.
One of the things that I thought about was just like, Annie really likes to just like grind my gears on purpose. Like
you do that to me too. You started it.
I did start it, but then I backed off of it, but then you continue to do it. And I'm like, you know, I should probably push back a little bit more and just see how far I can push. And so far, I think it's been working great. But okay, so 2023, actually, when talking about like New Year's resolutions and all that type of stuff, one of the things that I actually do with my friends is we actually decide to theme the year every single year, usually with some sort of like rhyming thing. And then that way you're like, oh, okay, so this is going to be the theme. For example, this is going to sound stupid as hell, but I'm just going to say it anyways. In 2020, it was 20 Venti, chase that bag, which essentially was just do so well financially that you can afford going to Starbucks every morning and buying a fancy venti drink, and it won't even you won't even have to think about it at all. And that year actually kind of worked out really well because then the pandemic started and then everyone was just like at home and not paying rent. And so like, oh, okay, I guess, you know, technically achieved. And so I've been talking with some of my friends just to try and figure out what the theme of this year was going to be. We haven't really decided on one yet, but I think personally what I'm kind of pushing for is 2023 and me, connect with your roots. That's right. We're going to get the DNA test and we're going to figure it out. That's not actually true.
I was going to say, like, what roots? Where are we going here? Like, confusion. I was like, hair roots, plant roots. Well, can't Annie, you? Don't you know what your ancestry is?
I know, but then what happens if like something strange pops up in the 23andMe and you're like, oh man, I guess I have to explore this side of my culture? I don't know because I haven't done it.
What if you find out you're adopted?
I think that would be a whole other, honestly, that wouldn't be that big of a deal for me.
Okay, this is not sponsored by 23andMe, but I have done a 23andMe test and it is surprisingly accurate.
What do you mean surprisingly accurate?
Because
Shouldn't
they
you
could
kind of know what you're expecting?
No, I mean, like, no, I know what to expect, but that's why I'm saying it's surprisingly accurate because I know my family's lineage from generations ago. And they could pinpoint the area of China and Vietnam that my ancestors were from. And I was like, how the fuck do you know this? Like, it was like the province with that, they're like, my family is from like 6 generations ago. And I'm like, the frick, how do you, it's kind of creepy.
I mean, there's a whole conspiracy theory that 23andMe, the whole point of it is to collect a DNA, like a human DNA genetic bank, just in case the apocalypse happens, so that they have remnants of human DNA so that they can clone people to repopulate Earth. But we're not here to talk about that because we've got really off track. but think about it.
Okay, your roots. Are you actually reconnecting with your roots? Is that what?
No. I think it's going to be 2020, either me or free. I couldn't decide on what I wanted the rhyming word to be, but just to kind of focus on, doing more meaningful things for myself and not feeling like I have to do things just because you have to do them. I mean, I think that was kind of an ongoing theme of the podcast when, we would sit down and talk with each other and just being like, just said yes because it was the pressure to feel relevant, pressure to feel like you need to do things in order to keep yourself relevant and all that type of stuff. And I don't want to do that as much. And I think, sure, I said it a bunch on the podcast, but then you also heard me immediately go back into those bad patterns time and time again. That one was just for you, Eddie. But, I think like just taking it a little bit more seriously and actually kind of focusing that down, I think is going to be an extremely more, it's just a healthier way to look at.
More.
Listen, there's a reason I paused for a second because I didn't realize that didn't make sense, but I'm like, I just got to commit to it at this point. But you're going to call me out on it. That's fine.
Sorry, I won't do that as much this year.
No, really?
I'll do it 80%.
Maybe I am.
I'll do 20% less.
From the shackles that Eddie continuously
Wait, don't say it like that. Once again, you started it.
I did start it, but I stopped. I only started it up recently again just to rebuttal against you because you always do it. You've been telling people to DM me for Riot Gun buddies.
But you didn't know. Does that count? If a tree falls in a forest and no one knows around to hear it, does it make a noise?
I get the DMs.
Okay.
Anyways. I think it would just be, I mean this like both in esports, but also to just like personal life as well. Not being a slave to just like doing work all the time on my actual job or like trying to do this or that because it's going to please somebody else type of deal, right? Like, I don't know. I just kind of want to put myself into a better position just in general in trusting myself a bit more to take things that are not going to burn me out so that I just feel terrible because it was a lot last year. There were a lot of moments of burnout, just like cried at the club type of like, oh my God, this is so hard. And I do want to make like an effort to change that because it's not healthy, which, yeah. So if I think my entire year around it, then it's like, shit, well now I have to actually go through with it because otherwise I'm like, it's whatever. So yeah, 2023 and me connecting with my roots. If you need one, you can take that one. You're welcome.
Oh no.
I kind of do want to do a 23 and me. I was going to say, I kind of want to do a 2023 and me. And I'm like, nope, that's the stupid thing that I made up and not the actual name of the product. You gotta buy into the conspiracy theories. Put your DNA in the bank. I would like to make a formal statement as the Pushing Buttons podcast spokesperson to not buy into conspiracy theories.
Can we start?
Please don't buy into conspiracy theories.
If for some reason we're not involved in esports anymore in the near or distant future, can we change Pushing Buttons into a conspiracy theory podcast?
I liked your other idea better that we discussed.
What was my other idea? We discussed it off air. What was it? Oh no, don't say it! No. It remains a mystery. I don't want to talk about it here. It is a surprise.
Yeah. Conspiracy, though, is not bad. That would actually be kind of a fun thing to do. I know a lot about conspiracy theories. I'm not sure about you. It's fun to laugh at, if I'm being honest. Do you believe in conspiracy theories and I accidentally just offended you?
No, I don't.
Okay. As the spokesperson of the Pushing Buttons podcast, please do not believe in conspiracy theories.
But what if they're real?
They're fun to read about, but you do not know the truth.
We don't know the truth, so that could be the truth. You're telling me you don't think...
Eddie's gone too far down the rabbit hole.
lizard people run esports.
And just like that, that is going to be the end of the... I'm pulling the cord. We're not talking about how the lizard men not only helped build the pyramids, but also run esports. The reptiles okay, all right. Well, that is going to be the end of the Pushing Buttons podcast with Marks and Anniepoo for these 2 weeks. Hitting the ground running, clearly. I can't believe you just said that while we're recording. But of course, if you enjoy your reptilian overlords, then make sure to follow or subscribe to wherever you are listening / watching the podcast on. And of course, if you do want to let us know who your favorite reptile figurehead is, then please let us know in the comments, leave a review telling us, hey, yo, that who's famous figurehead off the top of my head? Obama. Yeah, that's right. He's my favorite reptile lord. Then please make sure that you let us. No, sorry, sidebar. But have you seen the proof of that with like the CRT TVs?
No.
Oh, it's so bad. You watch it and you're like, these people are crazy. Like, you're living there. It hurts that people believe in it. Anyways, but that just about wraps it up. You can also find us on Twitter at PushButtonsPod. We shared our last New Year's one, and hey, you know what? If you want a little bit less goofy, a little bit more serious, and just a bit more vulnerable from our ends, then go listen to our last episode, the New Year's recap. We went for a little bit longer than usual, and honestly, I think it was a really good episode, and I think you would enjoy it, especially too if you know who we are. But I think that's all of the plugs. I don't know. I let you close last week, so it's just like it's just like disappeared from my brain then. But
it's been a month and a half.
It has been a month. Oh my goodness, you're right, because I had the flu the time before that. What are you looking at?
My audio monitor.
Okay.
Like, there's people in my hallway. I was trying to hear it. I was trying to see if it was picking it up.
I thought the reptilian overlord.
It was picking it up. Oh, maybe they are reptilian overlords. I live in a lizard people colony.
That's why your bedroom is so cold. This all makes sense. That's why everyone gathers in your living room, not your bedroom. Because it's too cold in there. And lizards need it. All right, that just about wraps it up. Do you have any final words or thoughts for us, Anniepoo?
I am LFLP. Do you know what that stands for? LFLP?
Looking for lizard thoughts?
P. P as in potato. Looking for lizard people.
Oh. If you are a lizard person and want a riot gun buddy, please DM at Anniepoo_ on Twitter to get connected today. But that is going to wrap things up. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. And we'll see you in the next 2 weeks. Okay. Bye, everyone.
Goodbye, lizard people.